Hi, I'm Jim. I'm a narcissist. I have narcissistic personality disorder. Making these videos as just a first-hand kind of recollection of things I've experienced with the disorder. Some things maybe my therapist and I work on. And the videos are really just for anybody if you think you may have this disorder or you've been diagnosed with it and you just feel like you don't associate with anybody. Maybe you think that somebody you know or care about has this disorder. Or maybe you're a victim. If you are, I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize to everybody I've ever hurt in my life. I spent a lot of my years letting this disorder run things. I did a lot of bad things. I treated a lot of people the way that they didn't deserve to be treated. I did a lot of damage. And I'd like to apologize to them. And for those that are victims, that have never gotten their apology or never will get their apology, I'd like to apologize on behalf of the narcissist, the person with NPD that never got to a point where they gave you what you deserve, an apology for treating you the way that they did. You deserve that apology. Nobody should be treated like that. But as we'll find, not all narcissists acknowledge that they have this disorder. And if they do, getting them on a good wellness plan is almost impossible. I've shared before in some of the other videos, it's very common that counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, that if you realize that a patient sitting down with you has narcissistic personality disorder, that you should not tell them. The reason is that they'll probably just get up and walk out right there. Second, even if they don't get up and walk out, in the back of their mind, they'll be like, this dude doesn't know what he's talking about. This person, right? My therapist is a male, so I apologize. I associate with the male. This person doesn't know what they're talking about, right? There's no way I have this disorder. And there's even the belief that if they keep coming back to therapy, that they're still not believing you, right? And it's very, very common that when you have this disorder, right, you don't need one iota of school or knowledge in any way, shape, or form. When you have this disorder, that it's very common that we believe we know more than the counselor or psychiatrist, even though they are licensed, they went to school. Sometimes they've dealt with hundreds of people with this exact disorder. I mean, they've done research. I mean, but still, we're sitting in that chair. We know more than they do, and they're wrong, right? I mean, it's point being is not everybody's going to get to a point where they're going to embrace a journey of change. So for the victims that have dealt with people that are never going to be able to get to a point where they'll sincerely apologize, I'd like to apologize on their behalf. For the emotional abuse, any physical abuse, any financial or sexual abuse that you endured, you didn't deserve that. So I don't really prep these videos a whole lot. Gotta be honest, I usually go off the cuff. I just kind of, try to think of something, that I want to talk about, and I don't really like plan what I'm going to say. Just kind of like pick a topic. And my topic today, I'm hoping, is not going to get me arrested, right? We can all be a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. So we all know that that Big Brother is watching, right? Listening to everything. And I'm gonna use the term blow up a lot. That's what we do when we have this disorder. We blow shit up, right? And we do it in a couple of different ways, right? So when you're a narcissist and you have narcissistic personality disorder, anything like a common cold is so much worse. Forget the fact that we're crying babies, right? Whining like you wouldn't believe. That's first, because we play the victim, right? But it's so much worse when we don't feel good, and it's even that just a little common cold. I mean, maybe it's some allergies. It's just a cough or a sniffle. Man, run! Don't go anywhere near that narcissist. You are in for a bad ride. When we don't feel well or we're sick, we're terrible people. We blow everything up, right? And that's what I mean. I mean, anytime we feel bad. And that's what our disorder does, right? Like mine stems from survivor's guilt. When my brother and I were young, walking back from baseball practice, he was hit by a car. I wasn't. He'll be physically challenged for the rest of his for the rest of his life. And I have extreme survivor's guilt, from that, not just from him, but from all the people that loved and cared about him, that they blame me for the accident and not being able to stop it. Not that they do, right? But that's where my NPD comes from. Right? I feel terrible. I feel that guilt. And right? And what that disorder wants is it wants me to put that negativity on other people. Right? It's like it's like spreading a disease. I want to touch you with this negativity disease. You got it now, right? How many people can I touch? How many people can I give it to? Right? Because it makes that core feel better. Right? I'm spreading that negativity. And that's the essence of this disorder. And I tell you, it's like a microcosm when you got a cold. The cold is almost like the disorder. And, I don't know how to describe it. Maybe we have less control over it than we normally do. Maybe it fuels our NPD demon more than it normally does. All I know is it's a reality. And here's the thing. For those of us that have this disorder, man, that's a battle, right? Every day with this disorder is a battle, right? We fight every day, right? We talk about it. That demon wants to sit on your shoulder, screaming stupidity in your ear, right? It wants to control everything. What do? We grab them. We get control of them. We bottle them up and we put them underneath our foot. He's always going to be with us. We'll never get rid of him, right? There is no cure, right? But we're going to bottle him up, put him under our foot so he doesn't control anything. But man, when you get that cold, that changes. Right? We're always having to, but man, he went, I'm looking, okay. So he went from, oh, look at me, I'm a nice little guy here, right? To mother, I just grew, right? And it's even worse. At this point, imagine compare this to a friggin' water tower. When you're sick, man, that narcissistic, demon is friggin', it's hard to battle. So you got to get ready. On top of that, you don't feel well. So you really don't want to, it's so easy to be like, I'm just going to, throw in the towel and let's just have this NPD, have its way for the day. No. We got to identify that that's a trigger, right? And it's not just cold, right? It's, like I said, I'm going to say it a lot today. We blow stuff up. That's what we do. So what'll happen is, we take a little thing that makes us upset, and man, we just decide to blow everything else up, right? So we take one thing that bothers or hurts us, and then we just ruin the rest of our lives, right? So somebody says something that makes you mad, and or here's a great one, stuff you don't even have control over, man, right? You go into a store, and we're narcissists, right? We got NPD. You don't even realize the stuff that triggers us, right? Having to wait in line when we're sitting there, right? And we know that retailer chooses to have too few employees. This isn't a staffing issue, right? This is a monetary issue, right? They are not valuing my business. And I'm not going to name the retailer, but you know who I'm talking about. And when you go there, the lines are always deep, right? They're always deep. But that's what they want. They want to, of course, the rational answer is they are trying to put the cheapest product on their shelves. And one of the ways that they're doing that is by paying as few employees as possible. One of the consequences means we got to wait in these long lines. But like I do, when you're a narcissist, you're not hearing that common sense. You're standing in that line, hating life, getting mad, and and the anger is building, right? What do we do? Like that. Then we'll turn around and that'll branch into, a big blow up at work. That'll turn into a big blow up at home, with the significant other. That'll turn into a big blow up on the kids. Right? Turn up to a big blow up, with a friend that we play racquetball with. Like I said, we take one little thing and man, we blow it all up, right? It's what we do. But we got to be able to identify it. And here's a metaphor, right? Good metaphor. Got to bear with me. I went for my jog just before this video, and little parched. So here's a metaphor. When you're dealing with a narcissist, all right, you ever see that game and it's got quarters right? And you put a quarter in, and any quarters that go over the edge, like tickets come out or the quarters come out, whatever, right? And that edge always looks full. It looks like, man, one quarter and I'm getting 500. That's what it's like being around a narcissist, right? At any point, that next quarter could be the one that just drops them off. But you ever notice with that game? Here's a couple things. First, with that game, you ever watch somebody actually win big on it, where a whole bunch of quarters drop? It doesn't empty. It's still full. That's us, right? So here's how that works. So you would think, just like that game, you put in a quarter, and oh my God, I just got 500 quarters. Jackpot, right? Like a narcissist. That one thing, man, we blow up. You think we'd empty? No. So you think there'd be like a safe period of time? No. Right? Just like that game. As soon as those like 500 quarters drop, it still looks like the next quarter's gonna knock them all over. That's us. Any point, anytime, anything. And when you're a narcissist, you don't even have to mean it, right? You could say something and it has nothing to do with what you said or how you said it. It has everything to do with how I interpret it, right? That's the key. How I interpret it. Remember, I'm uber sensitive, right? I'm dealing with insecurities. I got automatic negative thoughts. I got so many things piled up to take your normal text, your normal mannerisms, your normal statement, and blow it into something you never meant it to be. I mean, it didn't have a chance, man. At that point, I don't know baseball. I'm a famous batter going against a little league pitcher. I wish I could give you a name. I don't follow baseball, right? But I'm like home run derby hitter. I don't even know if that's a thing, right? Going against like a little 8-year-old pitcher. I'm gonna knock that fucking thing out of the park, right? You got no chance. So when you throw that pitch, it doesn't matter, right? Because I got so many weapons. I'm gonna knock it. And sticking with this arcade metaphor, it's even crazier. So if it was just that to deal with, that's enough. That's enough. But you gotta understand, we blow stuff up, which means that one quarter isn't just gonna drop all those quarters in that game. It's like Wreck-It Ralph, right? Remember Wreck-It Ralph? They got out of the one video game, went in the other video games. They started just effing stuff up in other video games. Now include that with the quarter game, because that's the thing. You know, we're not just gonna blow up things at work. If it starts at work, we're then going to take it to our relationship. We're going to take it, to the interaction we have with the cashier. We're going to take it to the drive-in at McDonald's. We're going to take it everywhere. We're going to take it to our kids. We're going to take it to our friends. We're going to take it to everybody. We're going to take it to them walking down the street that's walking by us, that we think's giving us a dirty look, that for whatever reason, we feel that they are obligated to look up and give us a head nod, right? We're going to take it to everybody, right? It's not just one. We blow everything up. How do we not do that, though? How do we not do that? How do we not blow stuff up? Especially when shit goes sideways. Get ready, because man, it's life. Life is going to go sideways. It's going to hit you hard, right? It's going to hit you with stuff that you're not ready for. And what do we want to do? We want to blow it up. We want to take that one negative thing that happens, and we just want to, go ahead and destroy. We want to wreck everything in every direction. So what we got to do is we got to identify our triggers, right? Man, something goes sideways, know that it's going to avalanche on you, right? You're going to want to push it in other areas, right? You got to know that. That gives you a chance to take control of it, right? And one of the things I do is I use an inner monologue. I do talk to myself in my head, right? If you watch other videos, when I jog, I talk out loud, right? I do some survivor's guilt, talking to the person that drove the car that I've never met, that I don't know their name, but I talk to them, right? And I talk to them out loud. I yell and I scream at them while I'm jogging, right? I do affirmations when I jog as well, sometimes internally, sometimes verbally, right? But I really like to use an inner monologue. So when something goes sideways on me, right, and maybe it's something like you got a flat tire. I hope I didn't jinx myself, man. I don't know how to change a motorcycle tire. I hope I didn't jinx myself. Okay. Okay. But you got a flat tire, right? And you got to start saying to yourself, hey, this went sideways, right? But I'm not going to let this affect any other parts of my day, right? I'm going to control this disorder. And I know this disorder is going to want to blow up and take this out on other stuff. I'm not going to let it, right? And I have that inner monologue, right? I get myself ready. I psych myself up. I'm prepared for it. I'm ready for what's gonna come. So that way, you know, when I do get to work late, right, I'm not taking that out, you know, on coworkers, right? And I'm not blowing up my job. I love my job. My job's great. My job's amazing, right? Love it. That's one of the things that we do, right? What else do we do, right? We keep a journal, right? We process. We get an accountability coach. And if you're not familiar with, pardon me, if you don't know what an accountability coach is, so when you're making a journal, right? Hey, sometimes it's just flapping gums. I mean, we're just blah, 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 right? An accountability coach is somebody that you sit down with every couple of days, maybe even one day, you know, maybe once every day, maybe once a week, really up to you. But they hold you accountable. You go over your journal with them. So now it isn't just me flapping gums, putting something down here that nobody's ever going to see or hear. This is accountability, right? So you get your accountability coach, your accountability partner, or whatever, you know, you want to call them, right? We process it in therapy with, you know, with our counselor or psychiatrist, right? And if we do have a fail, you know, we work on ways to identify it and do better the next time, right? And most important, it's a big one on me. We find a way to forgive ourselves. Forgive ourselves, man. That's gold right there. That's a skill I'm working on. You know, when your NPD comes from survivor's guilt, and of course the type that I have, it's tough. It's really all about self-loathing, self-hatred, and you know what I mean. And forgiving myself is just something at the core center of my disorder and my survivor's guilt. That, man, it doesn't want to. It doesn't. I mean, you know, evidently, if forgiving myself was easy, it would never happen, right? I mean, it's survivor's guilt, right? If forgiving myself was easy, it's just, I mean, ultimately, I have to forgive myself for something that I was never blamed for, that my mind placed blame on. I mean, so evidently I got issues with forgiving myself, you know, and you know, but it doesn't mean that we quit. It doesn't mean that we give up. It means that we try harder. You know what I mean? We work on it. But if you know somebody that has this disorder, and here's the thing, like if it's a family member, right, and you've evaluated, hey, I thought about just cutting all ties and never talking to them again. That's not you know, but that's not feasible. I have to see them at holidays or or whatever it may be, you know. Identify their triggers, right? And here's the thing. Sometimes we have to remove ourselves from them, even though you might not be able to cut them out of your lives. Sometimes you got to know when to cut them off, right? So I do silly things sometimes to like to get myself through some things. And one of the things I do, and I'm not going political, but you know, evidently we're a divided country, and no side likes the other side, and the other. So, of course, I think the other side's completely ridiculous and stupid, and as do they me, right? I mean, so, but I gotta promise you, I mean, there's times where I'm sitting or standing across somebody and having a discussion, and they're talking nonsense. And an NPD, here's the thing, I always feel when you are wrong that I need to make you correct, that it is my obligation to not stop. And here's the thing, I mean, you know, we're talking about like you're sitting down with somebody, and we're not talking about opinions, right? Hey, is strawberry the best, you know, flavor? No, we're talking about 1 and 1 equals 2. I mean, and you can't, and you're sitting across from me, and you're 1 plus 1 equals 3. And you know, there's some theories out there that, I mean, are just ridiculous. I mean, they're just. So, as a narcissist, like, we have to convince them. We have to, right? Now, maybe as a narcissist, we're the ones that are wrong. So, I mean, it's hard to engage us and, but what I do at this point is I have that inner monologue and I say to myself, look, this person has every right to be a stupid idiot, right? I tried my one attempt at giving them rational thought. They're not open to it, and I have to allow them to be an idiot, right? So you're at Christmas dinner, you're at Thanksgiving dinner, and that narcissist starts laying in, and it's fucking on, right? Because trust me, when I'm the other side, I'm the narcissist. I know when it's on. I mean, I know when I know when it's on. So I imagine you definitely know when it's on from the other side. So when that happens, sometimes you gotta cut it. You gotta cut it. And I will tell you, do not try to get the last word, right? I mean, it's just the best advice I can give you is save your breath. Save your breath, save your emotion, save your anger, right? Yeah. And you got to just cut that conversation. You know what I mean? Right? And, think about it ahead of time. So if you know you have a narcissist in the family, right, and you're going to see them at a holiday dinner or function or family game night or whatever it is, or, maybe it's a situation where, you're a teenager and one of your parents is a narcissist. So, I mean, you don't have an option B, right? When you know when they're dug in and it's coming, right? Plan before time, ahead of time. What are you going to say? How are you going to deal with it? You know what I mean? And, like I said, but don't try to get their goat. I mean, it's not going to do any good. Maybe it's the person better than I do. I mean, maybe it's something of, hey, I'm going to respect your right to have that opinion, and I'd really appreciate it if we could talk about something else, and just cut it, right? And of course, if you're in a relationship with that person, I've said it before, and for the narcissists out there, I hate it. I know I'd throw every one of us under the bus, but you're a victim, and odds do not show that this disorder is something that many people are able to accomplish being in control of. So it is recommended that if you are in a relationship with a narcissist, that you end the relationship immediately and you sever all ties. You completely block them and ghost them in every way, shape, or form. They'll hoover to try to get back in, so you cease all communication. No better advice. There's no better advice. I promise you firsthand. If anybody came to me and said the things that I did to my most recent ex was happening to them, that's the advice I would give them. Just about any ex I've ever had. That if my sister came to me and said, hey, my boyfriend is treating me this way, I would say, break up with him immediately and cease all communication. Do not let him back in. And, of course, she tells me, he has this disorder and what he does is hoover, right? Fake futuring. Yeah. So the best advice I can give you. Yeah. And just be prepared. Also, if you're, if you know that narcissist, man, if they're not feeling well or something with sideways on them, they are going to blow it up. And they're not even going to realize why, but they're going to come out for blood. Yeah. It's, you know what I mean? It's, so let me give you kind of like a firsthand look at almost what it's like. So, man, it's just a metaphor for, yeah. So imagine like a group of like 10 people surrounding one person, right? And you're that one person and you got to find a way to try to get out. What are you going to do? And they're just slowly all at the same time coming in like a circle and tightening in on you, right? You at that point you're going to start swinging, kicking in every direction, trying to get as many as you can to hopefully get a way out, right? But it's that immediate just kick and swing in every direction. That is exactly what it's like when you are a narcissist, and that rage monster is telling you to, it wants to feed. So like when I have a cold, I mean, there are times I'm in the middle of screaming and I don't even know why I started screaming, right? I do now because that demon wanted food, right? And because I was sick, it made it even worse, right? Because I had a flat tire, I went to work, and now next thing you know, I'm flying off the deep end, at a coworker or a cashier, you know what I mean, at a grocery store, because that demon needs to be fed, right? But we want the future to be better than the past. That's how we handled it in the past. So being able to identify, our triggers and things like that are huge. But you got to understand, it's coming extra hard in a way that you might not be ready for when you get sick, right? So you got to be ready to identify that and be prepared. It's going to be tough. Or when something really bad goes sideways. And I mean, stuff's going to go sideways when we really do want to blow everything up. And here's the thing, not just NPD, I mean people in general, right? I mean, here's the thing, loved ones are going to die, right? Jobs are going to get lost. Girlfriends are going to dump us, man. Like the loves of our lives. The greatest, most amazing people that we felt like we couldn't live without. And we're going to want to blow it up. And I mean, bad stuff's going to happen. I mean, it's going to go, and we're going to feel so terrible that we just want our whole lives to be miserable. And we just want to blow every last little bit of our life up and just be in a pit of pity and self-loathing. We got to be ready for it. We got to be ready for it, right? Future better than the past. That's our goal. Future better than the past. How do we do that? We get ready for it, man. Because the stuff, when it goes sideways, is when you don't expect it. And I'll half share. I had something really sideways happen. And it rocked me. I'm going to be honest. I mean, and I think the problem was, so literally, and I'm going to use a metaphor. So something happened in my life where somebody kind of like said, hey, do you want some ice cream? Yeah, ice cream's delicious. I love ice cream. Okay, so I need you to go clean the entire yard, and I'm going to give you some ice cream. Okay, awesome. So I go clean the yard. Come back, here's your ice cream. And I was like, okay, anything else we can do? Yeah, right? Go clean the yard again. I'm going to give you ice cream again, right? So I go clean the yard again. And I come back. And at that point, I get told, no ice cream. And I'm at the point of jubilation. I'm Pavlov's dog, right? I'm salivating for the ice cream. I was promised the ice cream. I've done everything. I did everything I was told that I needed to do. And yeah, and I gotta be honest. I mean, blowing everything up popped into my head. But hey, when stuff goes sideways, you are never going to be successful if you do this for anybody other than yourself, right? There's people that are going to benefit from this, don't get me wrong. But if you're doing this for somebody other than yourself, you're not going to be successful. There's nobody in this world that can't turn their back on me that would derail my path of emotional and psychological wellness, my journey to emotional betterment. Man, that's some stuff right there. But I mean, nobody, it's just, no matter what happens, and this is what's best for my future, no matter what happens. future's going to be better than the past. No matter what happens. No matter who does what to me. In what way. I'm not going to blow stuff up again. All right? I'm not going to get off my path I'm not going to get off my journey. Yeah. So, hope this was helpful.